Good morning students, hope you are fine. We are revising chapter 3 of macroeconomics, that is determination of income and employment. Some of the important terms I have explained to you, and now I will explain something more about the chapter. So, in the chapter there are many important topics. First of all, two approaches to macroeconomics. There are two main approaches, first of classical economist, second of Keynes. Classical economists believed that an economy always functions at full employment level and there is no problem of unemployment in the economy. But there was a worldwide depression during 1929 to 33, and in that period there was depression throughout the world, and then this myth of classical economist exploded, and then came the thoughts of Keynes. Keynes explained that an economy may achieve equilibrium level of income when aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply, but it needs not to be always at full employment level. AD may be equal to AS even at low level of employment, even at underemployment level. So, it may not always be necessary to have full employment in the economy to have the equilibrium level of income. So, this was the thought of Keynes. It was Keynesian theory. Keynes, in his famous book General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money, published in 1936, it brought about a revolution in economic thought, and it is called Keynesian revolution. So, in this chapter, some important terms from exam point of view I am explaining now. First of all, aggregate demand, AD, and its components. Aggregate demand refers to total demand for all final goods and services planned to be bought in the economy during a given period. कि एक given period में जितने भी सभी sectors के द्वारा की जाने वाली demand का aggregate, that is known as aggregate demand. It includes expenditure by households, firms, government for goods and services. So, it includes all type of expenditure. So, components of AD are the same. Whatever we have read in National Income Measurement Expenditure Method, that included 4 main parts. Same components are here explained as components of AD. First, household consumption demand, that is C, private investment demand, that is denoted by I, government demand for goods and services, that is G, and net export demand X minus M. Net export demand we get by subtracting imports from exports. So, first of all, household consumption demand, it includes value of goods and services that households are able and willing to buy. In our daily life, whatever we plan to buy, so many goods and services we need in our daily life to satisfy our needs. So, these all expenditure are included in household consumption demand. Then private investment demand, it refers to planned expenditure on creation of new capital assets like machines, buildings, raw materials by private entrepreneurs. And investment is of two types, autonomous and induced. Autonomous is independent of level of income. Whether income level is low or high, this investment always occurs, but that induced investment is always encouraged by the level of income. If level of income rises, investment also rises, otherwise not. So, autonomous investment is done by the government sector, because government sector never works for profit motive or income motive, and induced investment is done by private sector. Then government demand for goods and services, it refers to government planned exempt expenditure on purchase of consumer and capital goods to fulfill common needs of the society. And then net exports is the difference between exports of goods and services minus import of goods and services during a given period. These 4 components constitute aggregate demand, but main two components which build a major part of the aggregate demand, that is C and I, consumption and investment. So, we take these two factors as components of AD. AD is equal to C plus I. And what are the important points about AD? AD curve has a positive slope, which means when income increases, AD also increases. This is AD curve, C plus I. It has a positive slope, which means by increase in income, AD also increases. AD curve does not originate at point O or 0, which shows that even at 0 level of income, some minimum level of consumption is there, which is needed for our survival. And investment curve is a straight line parallel to x axis. This is investment line. It is always constant because it is government expenditure, and it is consumption line. Consumption line does not originate from 0 because at 0 level of income, consumption is not 0. Some minimum consumption is there for our survival. So, students, these were the components of aggregate demand. Do read them, each and every component, very thoroughly in detail, because these all topics are very important from exam point of view. That is all for today. Thank you.